Howdy. Welcome back to the LOM podcast. I'm your host, Jay Lyons. And welcome back to a regular scheduled episode. Just real quick, just would like to apologize for not getting a Bone Zone out like Saturday. I was too busy. I didn't plan well. Like it was like Friday is usually like when I record the Bone Zone, and like I got up and like I was like, okay, I got this, that, and the other to do, and I just completely forgot about doing the Bone Zone because I was just focused on all the other shit I had to do. And it wasn't until like the afternoon, and I was getting ready to do something, and I was like, you know what? I forgot the Bone Zone. So sorry about that, but it wasn't a regularly scheduled episode, so like I guess it wasn't too big of a deal. But yeah, just like to address that. So Friday, it was my friend's birthday. This past weekend, she had this big like birthday weekend type deal. Like there was something going on every night, like Thursday, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and all that stuff. And I would have loved to go to all of them, but like I had other stuff to do on like Thursday, and I had stuff to do on Saturday, so I couldn't make it to those. But I made it to the Friday and the Sunday parties. So Friday we went to the club, and I've been to the club before. I think I've only been to the club once. Like clubs are fun, but like they're also not really like my type of thing. Like I said, like they're fun, but it's just not something that I do like all the time. Because it's just like a ton of people, just like I don't even know. And like I don't know, they're just like right next to you, and people just like don't give a shit in the club. Like if they got to go somewhere, they're walking, and they're gonna push you out of the way, and you're like, okay, common courtesy. Did you guys ever learn that? So I went one time. It was like years ago, and it was fun. So this was my second time. It was the same club that I'd been to before, so like I recognized the place. And we went on a Friday night, and I didn't register like that. The fact that it was a Friday, and I didn't register how popular a club would be on a Friday night until I got there. But yeah. So I think we were meeting at the club like 10:30 or something like that, and a buddy of mine who was also going to the party, he lives like right near me, and so he's like, "Hey, do you want to carpool?" Or like somebody told me that he needed a ride, and I was like, "Well, I'll just offer him a ride, right?" So I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, do you want to carpool or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, that's cool with me." So I was like, "Cool." So I told him, it was gonna be like a 30-minute drive, sort of, to the club from where we are. So since we're planning on meeting there at like 10:30, I was like, okay, I'll swing by to pick you up at around 10ish, right? So he's like, all right, cool. So day goes on, and I'm doing a bunch of other stuff, and I start getting ready, and I leave to go pick him up around 10ish. I get there, and I was a little late to picking him up. It was like 10:10 when I got there, and I was feeling bad. I felt bad because I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna be standing out there for 10 minutes waiting for me, So, I finally get there at the agreed spot to meet up, and he's not there yet. And I had told him when I left my place, I was like, dude, I'm on my way, just to let him know, right? And he didn't respond. But I was like, whatever, it's cool. He probably just read it. Like, there's no, like, you don't need to respond to that. Like, someone just says, I'm on my way, and that's just to let you know, okay, they're on their way. I better get ready for when they get here, right? Like, it doesn't need a response. So I didn't really care. And so I get there, and he's not out there. I was like, okay, well, maybe he was just waiting for me to let him know that I was here. So I just let him know. I'm like, I'm here. No response. So one of my friends she was already there, she texted me, she's like, are you guys at the club yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. I just got here. I'm waiting for this guy, And I'm like in his like apartment complex or something like that. And I parked in a handicap spot because, I mean, I'm not handicapped, obviously, but like I just parked there because I'm like, I'm only going to be here like 2 seconds, right? He's just going to get in the car and we're going to leave. At least that's what I thought. So I just let my friend know. I'm like, no, I just got here. I'm waiting for him, in the parking lot or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. So like 10:30 comes around and he's still not there. And there's still no response. So I text him again. I was like, hey man, I'm here, right? And now I didn't know if I had his number or not. I thought I might have, but I didn't bother checking. So I was texting him through like DMs on Instagram. But since he wasn't responding, I was like, okay, well, if I just text his real number, he'd probably be more apt to respond, right? So I checked to see if I had his number, and I did. And so I just let him know. I was like, hey, I'm here, right? Still no response. A few minutes later, I texted him again. I was like, dude, where are you, right? And now, at this point, I'm thinking about just leaving, because I'm like, dude, I offered you a ride, and you're not here. You're not responding to me at all. Like, I should just leave. But also, I would have felt bad if, like, because a possibility that I was thinking was, like, something happened to him, or he's, like, asleep, and he probably just doesn't realize what's going on. And so I'm like, I'd feel bad if I leave, and he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I just saw this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm already at the club, so I guess you're not coming tonight. So I'm like, I'll just stick around, And since he still hadn't responded, I texted my friend who she was already at the club. I was like, hey, I'm texting this guy and like he's not here and he's not responding. And she's like, wait, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, well, we'll call him and we'll see what happens. Now I had already called him as well, and like he didn't pick up. So that was one of the reasons why I texted her, because I was like, something had to have happened to this guy, right? So they call him, and I guess I don't know if they got through to him or anything, but like after they called him, he texted me. He's like, bro, I'm so sorry, right? And I'm like, dude, where have you been? He's like, don't worry, I'm on my way. I'll be there in like 3 seconds. And like, he came out pretty quickly. And he tells me that he was doing work all day, and he's like, I'm gonna take a nap before I go to this club. And he's like, I'll set an alarm for 9. And he's like, so I can shower before we go out to the club, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And he said, but when I checked the alarm after I woke up, I had set the alarm for 9 a.m. instead of 9 p.m. So he was asleep that whole time. And the reason why he woke up was because when I called him, his ringer went off. And I'm like, you gotta be, like, you gotta be kidding me, Like that's one of the things that I always check. Like whenever I set an alarm, I make sure that I set it correctly for AM and PM, because I've made that mistake before. And so like now I'm super conscious about like making sure I set it to the right AM or PM, right? Morning or afternoon. But it was no big deal, except, he didn't actually get out there until like 11. So I was literally sitting waiting for him for almost an hour. But that's just the kind of person I am. I'm a nice person. So anyway, like we get to the club, right? And now I'm thinking, since like my other friends who were already there, like they got there like 10:30 or whatever. So I'm thinking they're already in, right? Because like I said, I didn't register that it was a Friday. I didn't really register how popular or crowded it would be at the club on a Friday night. So I'm just thinking like, yeah, they just walked right in, right? No big deal. So me and my friend, we park. And when we get there, he texted my friends and he's like, oh, just let you guys know we're here, right? So then one of our friends, she FaceTimes us and she's like, oh, where are you guys? And we're like, we're just outside. We're walking up to the line right now and all that. And she's like, okay. And she like hung up or whatever. And I saw the screen and I'm like, it looks like they were still standing outside, But I was like, but that can't be. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. They've been here for like 30 minutes. Like they obviously had to have gotten in already. And we walk up and like the line again, this place was huge. And I'm like, God damn, Like it had like the line had to have been like an hour long line or some shit, right? And my friend's like, "Oh, do you want to go find them in line, or do you just want to start from the back?" And I'm like, "Hell no, I don't want to start from the back. Are you kidding? If they've been here for 30 minutes and they're still in line, I'm not I'm not going to wait that long. I'd rather go find where they are so we can at least take 30 minutes off of line time, right?" So like we go up and we find them, and they were close to the front, but they weren't like at the very front, right? There were still like, we still had to wait there for like another 10 minutes or so after I got there. And so, yeah, so they tell us like, yeah, we got here like 10:40 or whatever. And I'm like, "You guys have been in this line the whole time?" And they're like, "Yeah, like it's Friday night. This place is popping, right?" So, we get through the bouncer and like we go up to the door, and like I said, I've been here before to this particular club. And so like I knew how the place sort of operated. And like usually like when you walk through like the main door, there's like this bar area, like this room, and it's just like for a bar, right? And you walk through the bar to like the main area, like the dance floor and stuff like that. So the last time I went here, you just walk through the main door, and then you can just walk right through into the dance floor or whatever. But this time, they had the bar blocked off. You had to, when you walked in, you had to walk up to the stairs to the second floor, and that was like your way in. And that was because like the dance floor was just way too crowded, and like they couldn't just funnel everyone into the first floor. They had to funnel everyone to the second floor. And even the second floor was packed, right? Like it was nuts. I swear we were past like the occupancy limit for this building. I'm like, dude, this is a fire hazard. There's way too many people in this place, right? Like I swear, you'd think like the second coming of Christ was going to be at this club, and everyone's like, dude, I have to be there to see this, right? Like that's just an idea of how many people were here. So, like I said, like we went to the second floor and getting drinks and all that stuff before we go down to the second floor to party, as you do at a club. And so we make our way downstairs, and like the dance floor is like not that big, which I think is kind of crazy. I mean, you're a club, like you should have like a big dance floor, because like isn't that what you're supposed to do at a club? It's literally you just go to dance and drink. So like, how do you not have a big dance floor? You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point, is to dance. How do you not have a big whatever? So like we get down there, and since the dance floor wasn't that big and everyone is there to dance, everyone's just packed onto this dance floor, and like you can't move at all. Like forget social distancing, okay? You don't even got personal space at this place, okay? Like people are like right up on me, and I'm like, this is not comfortable, and it wasn't like that the last time I went. I can't even remember what day we went the last time. It was like over the summer, and I don't know, it had to have been like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because like I know we were, but who really goes to the club on a Tuesday, right? So like it wasn't that packed the last time I went. So anyways, my friend, it was her birthday, and she wants to go to like the middle of the dance floor, right? So she's like leading us in a line through like this just mob of people, and she's just like pushing everyone out of the way, because she's like, dude, I'm getting to the middle. I don't give a fuck what you guys say. I'm going to the middle, right? So she's leading us to the middle, and just like in the middle of us just walking in a line, this other group of people just like cuts right in the middle of our line and just starts like going somewhere. Because like I said, like people just they don't give a shit at the club. Like I said, if they want to walk somewhere, they're gonna walk there. And if you're in their way, they're gonna get you out. Because people just like don't care. Like when I understand that's kind of like how you have to be, because it's loud and you can't just say like, excuse me, like, because they're not gonna hear you. But still, like what I do is like when I'm coming up to someone, I just kind of like tap them on the shoulder, and I'm like, I'm trying to like get past you, and they're like, oh, okay, and they move, and you walk past them. But like, dude, these other people, they're just like, move, they just go, and you're like, my bad, motherfucker, like. And there's like this one group of people that like I don't think they could really decide of where they wanted to go. Like they just kept going back and forth, like in front of me, behind me, to the side. Like I'm staying in one place because I'm with my group of friends and we kind of found our spots, so like we're kind of dancing and grooving and shit. And this group is just like walking by, like back and forth. And I'm like, dude, just pick a spot. Because they weren't going to the bar to get drinks because every time they walked by, they were empty-handed. It's like they were like, I like that spot, so let's go over there. And it's like, you know what? I don't really like that spot. I like where we were. And then they go back and like, no. Where we just were, that was a good spot. And they go back and it's like, make up your mind, people. Why? But anyways, so my buddy who I drove with me over to the club, he kept like going back and forth between like hanging out with us and like going someplace else. I don't know where he was going, right? And at one point, like he had left and he didn't come back for the rest of the night. And this was like right when we got in. Like I think we got in probably maybe like 11:15 or something like that. And he disappeared at like 11:45, right? He never came back for the rest of the night. And so like, like, I mean, I guess that was like cool with me. I hope he was having a good time wherever he was. So, but I'm hanging out with my two friends who were also there, and we're dancing and shit. And at one point, we're like dancing and all that. And at one point, like this like disco guy came out, right? Now, I don't remember this happening the last time I was at this place, okay? This like guy came out. He was like in a suit, right? And he had like a big sombrero on. And it was just, everything was made out of reflective panels, right? And he even had like this like mask and like, what was like a hood. It was like a full body suit. Like literally his entire body covered in reflective panels. And I'm like, who is this guy? And he's like up there, he's got like lasers and he's like doing shit. I'm like, what's going on? Because like I said, like this didn't happen the last time I was there. Like last time I was there, it was just like the DJ, and like he would like yell out shit like we the best music, and then he just like plays the music, but like that was it. Like this time you got like this disco guy coming out. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And like he was in the front, like with the DJ, he was dancing up there, or like he wasn't really dancing, he was just like moving the lasers around on his hands. But then like he just like walked off the stage and just started like walking around. Like he wasn't dancing anymore. He was just walking around the dance floor. And I'm like, are you gonna dance? But no, like he would just like walk and then he would stop and just stand there. Like he wasn't even moving the lasers anymore. Like he would just stand. And then he would keep walking and then just stand. And it's not like he was there to take pictures, because no one was taking pictures with him. He just acted like he was like a regular club dude, but he just didn't know how to dance anymore or something. But I was like, hey, whatever. But also, so like, like halfway through the night, there's like this VIP section, right? In the club. So you have like the dance floor, and then like right next to the dance floor, like I said, there was like this VIP section. It was like all roped off. And there was like couches and tables and all that stuff. And, there was like a party there, in the VIP section, right? And so like, I happened to look over at the VIP section, and there's this girl dancing like on a table or something like that. And she was really pretty. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm still dancing with my friends. And at one point, this girl who was in the VIP section, she went with like one of her friends to like behind the DJ, and she's like dancing over there. And at one point in the night, me and this girl, like we lock eyes, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. And so like, she's looking at me, I'm looking at her, and like we're dancing, and we're kind of doing that thing where like you see someone on one side of the room and you're on the other, and you're kind of like dancing with each other, sort of, but like you're not with each other. You're like on two opposite ends of the room. I was like, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, what's going on, whatever. And so then we stop, and I'm still dancing with my friends. I'm like, that was kind of cool. And at different points in the night, like that kept happening, right? And so at one point I was like, you know what? I should like go up and like introduce myself or something, because like obviously there's something going on here, right? But I couldn't leave because I'm with two girlfriends of mine, right? And my buddy who I had come with, he had left and he was gone for the rest of the night, right? And I don't know if you've ever been to the club, but like dudes at the club, like they just go up to any girl and just start trying to dance with them, And so my friends are like, you fend off the ugly guys basically. And I'm like, hey, I got you, And so like I'm with them and, I'm like they told me to, I'm fending off the ugly guys. And so I can't just like leave, right? Because my other friend who I'd come with, he was also charged with this responsibility. But like I said, he just kind of dipped. And so I'm like, I can't just leave because then who's going to fend off the ugly guys, right? So, I'm kind of like looking around the club, still dancing and shit. And I'm like, okay, well, where's my buddy? Because he needs to come back. So then I can leave for just like a little bit, right? But also I'm thinking, I'm like, well, she's in the VIP section. So like, even if my buddy did come back, it's not like I could just walk into the VIP section because I'm not a VIP. So I'm like, so she would have to invite me basically. And like I said, obviously there's something going on. So I'm like, okay, she probably would invite me, right? But if she did, like I said, I can't leave because my friend wasn't back. So I'm like looking around, waiting for my friend. I'm like, hey, I hope he comes back. I need him to come back like right now and all that stuff. But like I said, he never came back for the rest of the night, right? But I'm still hoping. I'm still holding out hope. And so, when the disco guy came out, like some security guys told the two girls who were dancing with the DJ, they're like, well, you have to leave because the disco guy's coming out, because like everyone loves the disco guy or something. And so like they go back to their VIP section and they're like dancing on the table and shit again. And at one point I noticed the girl who I was dancing with starts like whispering in her friend's ear, like, she's like saying shit and she's like pointing at me. So I'm like, okay, obviously she's telling her friend, she's showing me off, right? And so like, I'm going to put on the best dance moves I've ever done, just as like a flex, just so her friend can see, she could be like, oh, it's that guy. And her friend looks over and sees me like, like I'm supposed to be on like fucking Dancing with the Stars or something. And she's like, oh my God, that dude's amazing, right? Now it was Latin night at this club, right? So there's Spanish music and like, I don't speak Spanish fluently. Okay. I understand some words, but I don't really know what the words are to the songs, but I'm dancing as best I can. Right. And I'm like moving my hips and all that stuff. And like I said, so I start putting on my best dance moves I've ever done. Okay. And obviously it was good because all the Latino and Latinas around me and my friends, they're like hyping me up and they're like, oh shit, this guy can dance, right? And I'm like, okay, well that's good because everyone around me is, hyping me up. So obviously I'm doing something good. So this girl's going to be impressed. Right? So, night goes on. And at one point, me and the VIP, me and the club girl or whatever, like we lock eyes and she's like holding like a bottle of like vodka or something like that. And she like offers me some, right? She like points and she like, does like the drink thing. And so, I'm like, this is my opportunity. But out of instinct, you know what my dumbass said? I said, no, I'm good. And it's because I was a driver. I had to drive home. And so just like out of instinct, I'm like, no to alcohol. And like right after I said no, I'm like, what did I just do? Right? And after I said, no, I'm good, she's like, it's okay, whatever. And then, she just kept dancing. And we never locked eyes for the rest of the night. And I was like, that was my opportunity. And I blew it. It was towards the end of the night. There was only like 4 or 5 songs left or whatever. But still, I was like, but like even still, my friend hadn't come back yet. He was still gone. And I was like, I was so mad. I was waiting for her to like look back and me to be like, you know what? Never mind. I don't care. Just like, I'll take a sip, but just let me come over there, right? Like I said, she never looked back, and I was bummed. I even like the next morning, I was talking to my dad. I was telling my dad about what happened, and like even he said, he's like, you fucking dumbass. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. He's like, you're such a fucking verge. Which is crazy because, like, my father's like a very like by the books person. So like I figured when I told him the story, he'd be like, I'm proud of you. You had to drive, like you said no and all that stuff. But no, he's like, you're so fucking dumb. But also I felt bad for her because like probably the whole night she's like, okay, this dude's into me. Like let me invite him over, kind of. And then I just rejected her, and then she's like, what did I do wrong? She's probably going on the rest of the night for the rest of her life. Probably she's like, I don't know what happened. Am I not pretty? And it's like, no, I was the driver, okay? And just like out of instinct, I was just saying no to everything. Man, but like, yeah, I was pissed about that. But anyways, yeah, so the night ended, and we left. And like, I'm also kind of mad that my friend never came back, because I'm like, dude, you could have really helped me out back there, but you dipped. And I don't know where you went. But whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But it was just like, that was my opportunity, man. My apologies to Club Girl. My deepest apologies. But anyways, yeah, that was Friday night, and then we had like another party on Sunday, and that was really fun. But like the problem is that I didn't get back home until like 4 a.m. both nights, something like that. And then like I had work to do in the morning yesterday, Monday, so I had to get up early. So I only got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep on that night. And like even on Saturday, I had to get up really early. Like I had to get up at 5 because I had to drive down to South Florida because someone in my family had just sold a house and we had to move some furniture out of the place. And so, we came down to help them move furniture. And so like that night I only get like 2 hours of sleep. And so like I'm just like exhausted right now at the moment. I've been trying to catch up on my sleep, but like, it's just I haven't completely caught up yet. So I'm still a little out of it. This coffee is really helping me out. But I think it's a placebo effect because normally caffeine doesn't do anything to me. But I like to think that it's helping me stay awake. Obviously, it's pumpkin spice coffee. I mean, like, what else would it be? It's still fall, I can't wait till Christmas, though. Then I can bust out, like, the Santa's White Christmas coffee. Oh, chef's kiss, man. Christmas coffee. But, yeah, I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't have a Bone Zone because, like, I would have missed this Friday night story because I usually record on Friday. But I guess I could have still talked about it this episode like I'm doing right now. But I don't know. It was just I really feel bad about missing that Bone Zone episode. But hopefully it wasn't that big of a deal. So anyways, we only just barely hit 30 minutes. I could keep going, but like I don't really got much else to talk about. It was just like I really wanted to talk about what happened at the club. because that was a pivotal moment in my life. Well, it could have been a pivotal moment in my life, and I missed it. But anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up. Kind of a shorter episode. So whatever you guys are listening to this on, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and leave a review. If you're listening to on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on YouTube, comment something, anything you want. And make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified for future episodes and Bone Zone episodes. And follow me on social media at RealJLions and Lion on Main on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And share this podcast with the whole world. You know? Send it to literally everyone. If a African prince emails you asking for $1,000, be like, I don't have $1,000, but here's a podcast you can listen to. It's priceless. Just kidding. Don't reply to those types of emails. Those are obviously scams. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I've been your host, Jay Lyons, of the Lion on Main podcast. Love you. I don't know. Do I?